It is very fortunate that I can be here. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm also honored to have all these other panelists with me here. Yes, I studied, born, bred, studied, started working in South Africa. A good 40 odd years ago, I started my work. And of that nearly 40 years, I spent about 10 years not on construction sites. All the other time was basically on construction. Started off as a civil engineer working with a engineering company. And then after about 4 or 5 years, I decided let's do the jump to the contractors because I've been on sites now for long. I know what is happening on sites. Oh, guys, did I get a rude awakening when I stepped into the shoes of the contractor. It's a different world. Don't ever think if you know on the engineering side, you know what's going on the other side of the fence. It is a big difference. And the years that I worked with a contractor stood me in good standing for all the years afterwards when I moved back to the engineering side of the fence. My first 10 years I spent mostly in heavy civils, roads, bridges, high slip forming of headgears. So yes, it was most of my life, my early life was on those type of things. Then in 1994, I started in dams and hydro, and that is where I've been for the past 25 years. But I've always been fascinated by the contract and the construction law. And whenever and wherever I got involved with that as a project manager. I stepped in the role for dispute avoidance, reviewing of contract claims, and from a very early age, I was involved in that. So for me, it was a natural progression to go and start and having a look at what FIDIC could do with a FIDIC's precedence list, and recently now that you go through the FCL, the FIDIC Credentialing Limited route to become a certified FIDIC adjudicator. I was actually on the list waiting for about 4 or 5 years now, I think, until it is now reopened. So I'm very happy that I've got to that point where I am now a certified FIDIC adjudicator.
Yes, Christiaan, how did you many people here, the participants from Southeast Asia and other parts of the world would like to learn about how you prepare for the exam. And
how did I prepare for the exam? On the one side, I was very fortunate that I've been working with FIDIC for many years, and I've been closely working with the different contracts for many years. So when the exams came closer, I concentrated on brushing up my knowledge specifically of the 2017 suite of contracts, because that is something which I did a lot of review on when they came out, but not using it on a daily basis. I had to make sure that I know what were the differences, what were in there and what were the differences. So I concentrated on brushing up on FIDIC 2017, and then to make sure that I know what are the basics when it comes to reviewing different claims. So I read up on some adjudicators' views so that I understand and just brush up on how other people evaluate and see specific contractual conditions. But as I said, having had about 40 odd years experience where I spend a lot of time on contracts, helped a lot. I can only say the best advice I can give to anyone is know your contracts incredibly well, but more important is understand your contracts incredibly well. I've seen so many people reading something and they come up with a solution, and I said, but that's not what the contracts say, and that's not the principle. So understand those things, then it would be smooth sailing.
Do you have any specific course that you attend prior to attend this one, or do you have any specific book that you have you and you think that this will be helpful for the other participant in the exchange in the future?
Trun, no, I haven't done any additional courses except the ones that I've been doing on arbitration specifically, which helped me a lot to understand the legal requirements or the legal processes after dispute boards, if I can call it that, when you go to arbitration. So it gave me a better overall view, and it might have given me some better balanced outlook. But personally, I didn't go and study any specific books except what I told you, just to make sure that I know the different books well. And because I've been working on most of the 1999 books, I was quite comfortable around them, and I just had to brush up on the 2017 changes.
One thing is regarding the phase one of the exam. The phase one of the exam similar to the exam of Philips Certified Contract Manager, with many questions, multiple choice. From your experience with that phase one, do you have any advice to future participants to study or to for the beginning of the how to say the preparation?
If you look at the steps, number one is you need to have some experience. So that will give you open up the first gate for you. The second step is the multi-choice question, which I found to be incredibly demanding, which really drill you and take you through the ringer to make sure that you know your contracts. And then that one, the next step was then the evaluation, which lasted 2+ days, where they really test your interpretation and the evaluation. It's not something that you can really study for, if I can call it that. You need to go through the process to understand, to appreciate, and to be comfortable with what the contracts expect from the parties.
Yes. Thank you, Pons. Thank you, Christiaan. So I think that we may be quick on the progress. And everyone, if you have the question, yes, here on the Q&A, Christiaan, there is start some question on the Q&A. So if you have some question to Christiaan, please put it on the Q&A. Please.
I can quickly answer that one. What are the minimum FIDIC requirements to be a certified adjudicator? There's only one minimum requirement, and that is pass the evaluation. But to get into that process is what you need to have a specific knowledge. You need to be able to show your knowledge. You need to prove your knowledge through the questions, and then you need to be able to prove your understanding of the contract. There is no minimum requirement. There's only one requirement, and that is to know, understand, and be able to apply the contract. And that is where you go through those processes. That isn't like, for instance, with Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, that you need to have certain exams, courses done or things like that. There is also not a preliminary training for you. You go in there, they don't try and train you, you just hit the questions face on.
Yeah.
You ask what are the focus of the questions in general. The multiple choice questions is, do you know the contracts? And the evaluation is, do you understand and can you apply the principles? It is not an easy, guys, it's not an easy test. It's not an easy, and it's not a test, it's an evaluation process. It's not something that you can study for. You've got to go through the process to understand it, and so that you can stand in front of people and defend the position by